Chinese, or some of the delegation from Chinese Taipei, as Japan lead out for this men's recurve team bronze medal match. Time to find out who is going to take the bronze here in the recurve men's team medal match here at the 51st World Championships in Yankton, South Dakota. Let's go down to the field of play for the team announcements.
On target, number 1, representing Chinese Taipei, Huang Jinghao. Wei Chongping, Yu Guangling. Shooting on target, number 2, representing Japan, Takaharu Furukawa. Yoshito Hawaii. Wataru Onuki. The World Archery judge for this match is Sunethra.
Well, time to find out who is going to take the bronze medal here. There's our referee, Chinese Taipei, led out by Wei Chunhing, Hen Guanlin and Hung Cheng-hao. Japan have a 5-time Olympian amongst their ranks. Furukawa Takaharu teams up with Anuki Wataru and Kuwai Yoshito. Nikki, an all-Asian bronze medal match. Who do you fancy?
Yeah, it's going to be a tight one. I think you know, Chinese Taipei taking the silver in Tokyo and Japan taking the bronze. So you know, can Japan go one better this time?
Shooting for bronze right now.
So here we go. Chinese Taipei leading out for this bronze medal match. Start off with a 9.
Both starting off to the left, as we've seen from other archers as well. Just wonder if the conditions down that end, just a little bit of wind.
Finding the middle there. Chance for Japan though, 3 points dropped by Chinese Taipei in the first third. Number 14. Individual Olympic and team bronze in Tokyo. Following up a individual silver at London 2012.
World Field Champion, Mr. Onuki. Picks up the lead. That's in the point. Chinese Taipei.
Just a little bit of communication from the team behind. Quite a quiet team.
Solid finish there for Chinese Taipei for a 55. like they played around with their order a little bit as well. Way shooting first and last for them.
Good start from them. Nice and central.
So 9 enough for set points here.
9 takes the set.
It's into the 10. Very solid start here by Japan, and Yuki Wataru finishing things off solidly there for a 57 in the first 2 set points for Japan. Nikki, you talked about the solid, quiet Chinese Taipei team. It's not pomp and circumstance on the Japanese side, but there's certainly a little more smiling and a little bit more communication.
Yeah, you know, and that communication is really important in the team round. That's, you know, kind of why your teammates are there, and you're trying to utilise them the best you can. So, you know, there's things like obviously conditions. We're looking down the range right now, and conditions are pretty still, to be fair. We tend to get this little breeze from right to left occasionally, but also they're there to support you, you know, through the shots. We can see some of them standing behind waiting to come on, and they're talking through the shot of the archer on the line. So, you know, use your archers around you as much as you can. They're there to support you.
Dr. Howard Furukawa coming fresh off individual Olympic bronze, as well as team bronze.
Well, we saw a little bit of rain earlier on, and whilst conditions are still a little bit damp underfoot, precipitation has stopped. So we certainly, I mean, the rain wasn't heavy enough at all, was it, to affect the flight of the arrows, but the wind has played a part here. And in particular, when you look at the windsock, the digital windsock, it is blowing and it's not staying in one direction, which perhaps is why things are getting affected at the far end of the range.
Yep, these archers are shooting over 70 metres, so there can be differences in where those arrows are going to land.
Well, Chinese Taipei shoot first at the start of the second, trailing Japan in this bronze medal match by 2 set points to 0.
Like a really solid shot, and again just communicating that to his teammate about where it went, make an adjustment if needed. A little bit of shaking.
And it is an 8.
Door open even further this time. Chinese Taipei started with 27 in the first set. They've only managed 26 here. And up steps Furukawa.
A little bit of a flinch, I think, there before the shot went off. Perhaps a little feeling of the clicker. Just under the clicker before it went, but great shot, well executed in the end. I think he's just laughing about it now.
And it's a lineup. It is out. It's an 8.
Mark for a measure, but 27 enough for Japan to be in the lead again at the halfway stage. Pressure now on Chinese Taipei.
8 points.
Interestingly, on the other side now, again making more adjustments. It's a little bit of that wind behind them now. Fairly sheltered where they are on the shooting line.
9.
A little bit of bow quando we just saw, that front arm going off to the left. Trying to make an adjustment. Trying to make a difference to the arrow, but often it doesn't really.
We're getting closer and closer to the 10, but finishing with a 52. Big opportunity here for Japan. And if you have a look at some of these shots and the wider shots here out to the right of the shooting line, we're seeing the trees closing out the wind. Behind the shooting line, the trees block out the wind coming from behind, even though you said that, Nikki, that the wind was blowing through behind them. And you can see the flags there blowing away. But on the riverbank side, we've almost got a clear sight of the river all the way down.
8 points.
So a 7 will give Japan an extra set point. It will put Chinese Taipei on the board. Any more, and Japan go 4 up. Oh my goodness me, it is a 7 and a 52 for Japan. What on earth happened there?
You could just see a reaction, couldn't you, of his front arm as that shot went off. So he knew it as soon as it went. There was just a little bit of an error, a little bit of a collapse, I think, in the front arm, and off it went.
So 2 sets down, Chinese Taipei have snuck onto the scoring sheet here, but let's not forget, one of their arrows is subject to a measure. If it gets marked up, they'll draw level.
Yeah, I think it's that high 8 you can see on target 2. I think it was out, that one. I don't think it will be called up.
Target 1, 9, 8, 9, ace, 9, 9. Target 2, 9, 10, ace, 10, ace, 7.
So you're right, Nikki, we could just about hear the target judge calling those arrows as we had them in the scoreboard. So Chinese Taipei remain on 52 points, but because of a dropped final arrow from Japan, it does mean they get onto the scoreboard for the first time here with 1 set point. They trail going into the 3rd set against Japan, 3 set points to 1. So Chinese Taipei to shoot first in the 3rd set.
Chinese Taipei preparing to shoot first on target number 1.
It is best of 4 sets though, so if Japan can win this next one, they can end the match. Chinese Taipei got to get back into it. That is definitely the start they needed. Really try and put the pressure back on to Japan.
Much better start, a 29 out of a possible 30 for Chinese Taipei. As these teams appeared on the podium at the last World Championships in Sertogenbosch, the Netherlands.
9 points.
All of a sudden, just starting to hear the Japanese team start to cheer each other on. Is that something that you can feel as a palpable change? Will that make a big difference?
Yeah, I just think they're getting more and more into the match, a bit more pumped up by it all, the adrenaline's flowing. So yeah, we normally hear a bit more from them, don't we? So just helping each other along.
Mini lead for Chinese Taipei at the halfway stage. The other thing worth noting here, Ricky, and you will know this first-hand experience, is the light is changing almost second by second as the clouds go over. A minute ago we had blue skies, and then half an hour ago it was raining.
Yeah, it can change what the archers are seeing. So recurvers have a very simple sight, just a little circle or a little pin to look through. They use the string at the back as their sort of back sight, and they line that up with something either on the bow or the sight. So, that will change, the image of that will change depending on the light conditions. So, yeah, that's important to note as well, and that could cause some of these lefts and rights too.
To finish off for a 56, but that was the best score from Chinese Taipei through the 3 sets of this bronze medal match here at the World Championships. That does mean the door is open for Furukawa and Co. It's marked as a 10 despite the stadium announcer saying it's too close to call. Looked like a 10 to me, Nikki.
I thought it was a 10 as well, to be fair. We'll have to just keep our eyes peeled on that one just in case.
That's definitely a 10. And now a 9 for the bronze medal. Bit of pressure perhaps on Anuki.
To win. It's 8.
Put it into the 8.
We'll see what happens with this
So 56 is called, and that's another point for Japan, but not enough to get them over the line to the bronze medal. Now, stadium announcers still convinced that one of the Japanese arrows is not in the 10, the 4th arrow, so it will go to a measure.
We'll see what the situation is as the judges.
Yeah, I mean, from our angle it looked like it might have been in, but you just don't know where that stadium announcer sat. If there's a lot of arrows in a small place there, and if one arrow is obscuring it for him, he might not be able to get a good view of it. So let's see what the judges say. Obviously, if any part of that arrow is touching the line, deemed to be touching the line, it will be called up.
Well, they're having a good look at this, the judges there, with George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln double checking the marking.
Okay. Target 1, 10, 10, 9, 10, 9, 8. Target 2, 9, 10, 9, 10, 10, 8.
Well, confirmed as a 10 there on target number 2 for Japan, that 4th arrow, which means that they do secure 1 point in the 3rd set and lead this bronze medal match over Chinese Taipei 4 set points to 2. Chinese Taipei have to win the final set to force a shoot-off here. Nikki, a couple of dropped shots in the last 2 sets from Japan when they could have had a bit of a clean sweep really here.
Yeah, it's just been that last hour, isn't it? 7 and then an 8, where they really could have took the points and be finished by now and off and having some tea. They obviously want to get their money's worth. They're up on this stage, and yeah, you can see already the reaction there. From you just know, as soon as it's gone, you just know it wasn't quite right. So another set to play for.
Well, here we go. Set number 4 will be Chinese Taipei to get us underway, and they need all the points in this set to stay in with a chance of a podium finish here in Yankton.
Just see a little bit of movement, a little bit of shaking. Flipping the 10, good shot.
So high grouping there, just above the middle of the target.
Yeah, I just see them all moving their sights there as well, can't you? Just making that little adjustment.
Furukawa dragging that one across a little bit.
A little bit of Bo Kondo. Just doing what you can to see if you can change. You know, the last thing an archer sees is where it's going to go, or feeling that something's not quite right, and just trying to drag it across.
So all square at the halfway stage between these two. It's not quite enough for Chinese Taipei. They need to be throwing down some 10s now to put some pressure on Japan and to draw level in this set. Again, another pull across, but into the 10. Will Chinese Taipei be thinking about Nuki shooting last for Japan? He's thrown in a 7 and an 8 in the last 2 sets. Another 10. Can they make it a perfect second half here to set number 4? It's on the line. I think that will be counted as a 10. It's marked as a 9 though for a measure, so we're calling it 57 at the moment, potentially 58. I suspect it might be 58.
Looked into me.
Furukawa setting the tone with a 10. Sticking with their order. Kawai. Shito shooting in the middle, the 21-year-old. Nine. So, provisionally, with a 10, Nuki takes the point here in the 4th set and the bronze medal for Japan. But he shot 7 and 8 in the last 2 sets. He's put it in the 10 when the pressure was on for a 57, but now we look to arrow number 6 for Chinese Taipei. Nikki, I think it's a 10.
I think it's a 10 as well. We're going to have to wait for this measure, but I think, you know, we could be on for a tie here.
Well, we wait for the target judge to go and have a look. Let's try and have a listen to what they have to say.
From what I heard there, I heard 4 10s and 2 9s, so I think that confirms the 58 and a nod from the agent for Chinese Taipei as well.
They still look on stoically, but they think, well, we think they've drawn level 4-4. They've taken the points they needed in the 4th set, and they forced a shoot off against, well, Japan, who look strong, but they just had a nervy finish. Confirmation there from the judge that we are all square at 4 apiece. Chinese Taipei looking delighted, and the other side of the shooting line, Japan forlorn. Now, they could have taken this 6-0.
Yeah, easily. You know, on 2 occasions they just needed a 9 or a 10 on that last arrow, and they didn't do it. You know, what is going through their minds right now? Are they feeling confident about this, or are they feeling it was theirs? It's been ripped out of their grasp.
Well, let's get back to that in a second. First off, Nikki, we're going to have a change of targets. Explain what's going to happen now.
So we're going into a tie. Each team is just going to shoot 1 arrow per archer, and then it will go to score. And if we're tied for score, then it will go closest to the middle.
Okay, so now we've got the rules sorted out. Back to this this strange situation with Japan. So Anuki Wataru is shooting 3rd, has been throughout the match. They didn't change things. There's Furukawa, the most experienced of the Japanese archers, with 5 Olympics in his belt. And 3 medals he's got a medal at London 2012 and 2 in Tokyo. Will they think about changing the order, or is that just way too dangerous?
It doesn't look like they're going to, does it? He's there poised and ready to go up first. They're going to alternate as well, each arrow, these 2 teams, so really put the pressure on, see what they score. But yeah, you just think when you put the most experienced archer perhaps last in this scenario, but yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, Anuki is actually, well, better known for his field and 3D shooting, so I think maybe he's feeling a bit out of his depth here in target archery, but he's done very well to get to this point, obviously, but they've just got to hold it together, haven't they?
Well, they have, but they haven't in the last 3 sets, and you say Anuki's more akin to field archery. I hear that this World Championship, Outdoor World Championships range is on a little bit of a slope, so that should play to his advantage, surely.
Yeah, I think we've got a very, very minimal slope down to that river. Obviously being built up by those kind of ramps across where the targets are sitting, but yeah, you know, a long wait here. What's going to go through these archers' minds right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we all need to be pondering. You've got to be thinking that Chinese Taipei are going to be delighted not only to have made it having come from behind, but after a measure. The wind's dropped right off, as we can see, so no one can make any statements about the wind being a factor here. We're in a shoot-off here for the bronze medal in the recurve men's competition. Chinese Taipei have drawn level with Japan, who could have done this in 3 straight sets. Chinese Taipei clawed their way back into this, and they'll shoot first in the shoot-off. What a way to start. Exactly what Chinese Taipei needed. Furukawa responds with a 9. The most experienced member of the Japanese team has played his part in the shoot-off.
Archers taking their time just to get as relaxed as possible. Deep breath before drawing. Bit of bow kondo, but it was in the 10. All the eyes on the youngest member out there, 21 years old.
Well, Kawai Ishito needed that 10 to put some pressure on Chinese Taipei. Wei Yu and Hung fought their way to the shoot-off. They can take it with a 10 here. Bit of a longer hold, and he shot a 9 there. A 29 for Chinese Taipei, and now the pressure falls on Anuki Wataru. He shot a 10 to finish off the 4th set. He needs a 10 here. Oh, he's dropped it into the 8, and that means Chinese Taipei have come from behind here in Yankton, South Dakota, to take the bronze medal in the recurve men's team competition. They fought their way back against Japan, and in a shoot-off they've won it clearly with 2 10s and a 9. Brilliant stuff from Chinese Taipei. Well, Nikki, what a match there. Chinese Taipei deserve it for sure. Wei Yu and Hung taking the medal here in Yankton. But boy, oh boy, Japan will be scratching their heads. At the end of the 2nd set, they needed, I think, a 9 to get the set points to go 4-0 up. A similar situation in the 3rd, but Chinese Taipei fought their way back. What are Japan going to be thinking right now?
I think it was just written all over Anuki's face, sadly, going into that last arrow. You know, he didn't look happy, didn't look confident. Like you said, he had that 7 and 8 in his mind as well, I think. And sadly, just wasn't enough today. But great shooting from 2 brilliant teams.
Yeah, and it shows the fine margins that you get in this sport. That, you know, literally, you know, we're not over-egging the cake here. Japan could have won this 6-0.
Yeah, they really could have. You know, it's that simple. You know, set system, that's what it's all down to. You just got to get those points in at that time, and they kept just dropping points, didn't they? Opening the door and almost clutched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Well, yeah, quite, and that's what's so important about the set system, isn't it? That it's not just shooting well; it's shooting well at the right time. And if you know, if you're in a winning position, in a leading position, needing an 8 to 7, there is Anuki who dropped the ball twice in sets 2 and 3. And it was Chinese Taipei who took advantage of those opportunities, but it's scoring the right points at the right time.